Between 2019 and 2020, Australia faced one of its most devastating natural disasters in recent history, the Black Summer wildfires. This catastrophic series of fires began in September 2019 and continued until March 2020, burning through vast areas across the southeastern parts of the country. The wildfires affected New South Wales, Victoria, and South Australia, with some of the most intense fires occurring from December 2019 to January 2020. Australia is no stranger to bushfires, but the scale and intensity of these fires were unprecedented. The fires scorched approximately 24.3 million hectares, 60 million acres of land, an area larger than many countries. The blazes resulted in the destruction of thousands of homes and buildings, causing significant loss of life and property. By the end of the fire season, the official death toll included 33 people directly from the fires, with additional deaths attributed to smoke inhalation and related health issues. The Black Summer wildfires were driven by a combination of extreme weather conditions, including record-breaking temperatures and severe drought. These factors created the perfect environment for fires to ignite and spread rapidly, leading to the unprecedented scale of destruction witnessed. The fires not only devastated communities, but also had a profound impact on the environment and wildlife, with millions of animals perishing and vast areas of natural habitat destroyed. This period marked a significant chapter in Australia's history, highlighting the severe impacts of climate change and the urgent need for improved fire management and environmental protection strategies. The formation of the Black Summer wildfires was driven by a combination of natural and human-induced factors. Australia experienced a particularly harsh drought, starting in late 2018, which continued into 2019. This drought, one of the most severe on record, drastically reduced soil moisture levels and left vegetation extremely dry. The dry conditions created a tinderbox effect, where even a small spark could trigger a massive blaze, and in the months leading up to the fires, Australia saw record-breaking temperatures. In December 2019, the average maximum temperature across the continent reached 40.9 Celsius, with the record being broken the next day at 40.9 Celsius. These extreme temperatures were accompanied by high winds, which further fueled the spread of the fires. The first fires were reported in early September 2019, primarily in the northern parts of New South Wales. The initial fires, such as the Long Gully Road fire near Drake, started as small outbreaks but quickly escalated due to the extreme heat and dry conditions. By October, these fires had already caused significant damage, destroying homes and threatening communities. As the fire season progressed, the situation worsened. By November 2019, fires had intensified across multiple states, including New South Wales, Victoria, and South Australia. The Australian government and local fire services began preparations for a prolonged and challenging fire season. Resources were mobilized, and firefighters from across Australia, as well as international teams from countries like Canada and New Zealand, were deployed to combat the blazes. The fires quickly became a major crisis. With dry conditions persisting and temperatures soaring, the fires spread rapidly, impacting larger areas and causing unprecedented damage. The early days of the fires set the stage for what would become one of the most devastating wildfire seasons in Australian history, with fires burning uncontrollably and wreaking havoc across the southeast of the country. As the Black Summer wildfires raged on, the scale of their destruction became increasingly apparent. The fires, fueled by the relentless heat and dry conditions, began to consume vast expanses of land. By late December 2019, the fires had reached their peak, causing widespread devastation across southeastern Australia. In New South Wales, hundreds of fires burned simultaneously, impacting communities across the state. The fires spread from the north coast, the Blue Mountains, and the south coast. Towns such as Cobargo and Malakuta were severely affected, with flames threatening homes and forcing evacuations. The sheer intensity of the fires led to some areas being cut off, leaving residents stranded and in dire need of assistance. Victoria also faced its share of the crisis. Large fires in eastern and northeastern Victoria created a formidable challenge for firefighters. Areas such as East Gippsland saw fires that burned uncontrollably for weeks, destroying homes and infrastructure. The fire's impact was so severe that some towns, including Corryong and Malakuta, were isolated for extended periods. South Australia and the Australian Capital Territory were not spared either. The Adelaide Hills and Kangaroo Island experienced significant fires, While the 8th saw fires encroach on the outskirts of Canberra, the relentless fires led to the destruction of more than 3,000 buildings, including nearly 2,800 homes. The scale of the destruction extended beyond just buildings. The fires caused extensive damage to the environment, burning through an estimated 24.3 million hectares of land. This massive loss of land affected various ecosystems, decimating habitats, and leading to the deaths of millions of animals. The fire's smoke created hazardous air quality across the country, impacting millions of people and contributing to an increase in respiratory issues. The fire's intensity and duration led to a crisis of monumental proportions. As firefighting efforts struggled to keep pace with the rapidly spreading blazes, the impact on communities, wildlife, and the environment became evident. The Black Summer wildfires left a trail of destruction that would take years to recover from, marking one of the darkest periods in Australia's recent history. The aftermath of the Black Summer wildfires left a landscape marked by both visible and hidden scars. The fires had burned through an enormous area, leaving vast expanses of land charred and barren. The environmental impact was profound and far-reaching. In the wake of the fires, the destruction of habitats was widespread. Forests that once thrived with diverse wildlife were left in ruins. The loss of vegetation meant that many animals, already struggling with the effects of climate change and habitat loss, faced even more severe challenges. Among the hardest hit were species already on the brink of extinction. The koala population, for instance, was dramatically affected. With their habitats severely impacted, conservationists feared that the fires might have pushed this iconic species closer to extinction. Estimates suggested that the koala population in New South Wales, Queensland, and the Australian Capital Territory had been reduced by more than half since the year 2000. The impact on other wildlife was equally severe. It was estimated that nearly 3 billion terrestrial vertebrates, mostly reptiles, were affected by the fires. Some endangered species were believed to have been driven to extinction. The fires also led to significant losses among plant species, with some areas potentially losing entire plant communities. The fires also had significant effects on the soil and water systems. The intense heat and burning of vegetation led to soil erosion, reducing the land's ability to support future plant growth. Water sources, including rivers and streams, were contaminated with ash and debris, affecting aquatic life and complicating water management in affected regions. The smoke from the fires had a severe impact on air quality across Australia. At the peak of the fires, air quality dropped to hazardous levels in many areas, leading to respiratory problems for millions of people. The smoke also traveled long distances, impacting air quality in other countries and contributing to global environmental concerns. The economic costs of the fires were staggering. The fires resulted in billions of dollars in property damage and economic losses. Tourism revenue fell significantly, and the cost of firefighting and recovery efforts soared. The Australian government, along with international aid and donations, worked to address the immediate needs of affected communities and support recovery efforts. The fires highlighted the urgent need for improved environmental protection and disaster preparedness. The Australian government's Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act, designed to protect threatened species and their habitats, was found to be insufficient in preventing such widespread destruction. This led to calls for a review and strengthening of environmental laws to better safeguard Australia's unique wildlife and ecosystems. Overall, the Black Summer wildfires left a lasting impact on Australia's environment and its people. The recovery process would be long and challenging, requiring concerted efforts to restore damaged ecosystems, support affected communities, and address the broader issues of climate change and environmental conservation. The Black Summer wildfires were a devastating chapter in Australia's history, leaving a significant mark on both the environment and the people. As the fires were finally brought under control, the country faced the enormous task of recovery. The immediate aftermath saw efforts directed towards rebuilding communities and restoring infrastructure. Homes were reconstructed and damaged areas were repaired. With the help of both local and international aid, one of the major focuses was the restoration of the affected ecosystems. Conservationists worked tirelessly to replant trees, rehabilitate wildlife, and monitor the recovery of damaged habitats. Projects aimed at rebuilding wildlife corridors and restoring soil health were essential in helping the environment bounce back. However, experts acknowledge that the complete recovery of Australia's unique landscapes and wildlife would take many years. The Black Summer fires highlighted crucial lessons about disaster preparedness and climate resilience. The intensity and scale of the fires pointed to the need for improved fire management practices and better strategies for dealing with extreme weather events. Controlled burns, enhanced land management, and increased investment in firefighting resources became key areas of focus. Furthermore, the fires emphasized the urgent need to address climate change. Rising global temperatures and shifting climate patterns contributed to the severity of the fires, underlining the importance of comprehensive climate action to mitigate future risks. As Australia continues to rebuild, there is a renewed emphasis on creating a more resilient and sustainable future. The experience has driven a national and global dialogue on environmental protection and climate action. Although the path to recovery is long and challenging, the resilience of the affected communities and the commitment to tackling climate change offer hope for a more secure and sustainable future.